All right, we will call the Board of Commissioners meeting to order at 10:04. All those able, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, do we have any public comment for items not appearing on today's agenda? All right, seeing none, move forward with additions to the agenda. I think John has a minor change to something later on in the agenda.
Yes, good morning, Commissioners. On Friday, obviously, we have to get the agenda out at least 24 hours prior to the start of the meeting. And with the new ERP system that we were implementing, we were trying to get that final number out. So we put an estimate on the agenda, and we were very close. So just a note that there will be a minor adjustment monetarily to the overall check run that you will be approving today.
All right, great, thanks, John. All right, we'll move on to the meeting minutes unless there's any changes. Take a motion.
I will move to approve the minutes from the meeting held July 9th.
I will second it.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the minutes from the meeting held on July 9th, do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. Motion carries. We'll move to proclamation number 37, proclaiming July 19th as Park and Recreation Professionals Day in Center County. And I believe we have Tim Hurd here from the organization. Why don't you come up to the podium and address us? And we all know how important Parks and Rec are, but give us a few more details.
All right, wonderful. Thank you. Appreciate your interest in doing this. My name is Tim Hurd. I'm the CEO of the Pennsylvania Recreation and Park Society, which is the professional member association for those who work or volunteer in parks and recreation throughout the state. Our members are managers of park facilities, maintainers, recreation programmers, park superintendents, therapeutic recreationists, people who manage aquatics and athletics and quite a bit more. And the occasion is Park and Recreation Professionals Day, which was first started right here in Pennsylvania in 2019, and the following year was elevated to a national celebration by the National Recreation and Park Society, and we appreciate the commissioners recognizing it right from the very start. So we've been back. But, you know, when you go to a park, you expect it to be clean, safe, and ready to use. When your family goes swimming, you expect the lifeguards are well-trained and the water quality is just right. When your child or grandchild visits a playground, you know that it's maintained to all safety standards. When your loved one with a disability wants to camp or swim or paddle or fish, all the facilities are well marked, well maintained, and easily accessible. When you attend a public festival, all safety and security systems are capable and functioning. When your children attend day camps, you're certain of their safe and appropriate physical, cognitive, and social development. When your teens participate in youth sports, they thrive in the coaching and the playing and the growing. And that when you want to hike to the park or a grocery store, the library, or to work, you're able to make those connections free from all hazards. What we all want and we expect in our public spaces are provided by our park and recreation professionals, normally hidden from view, the action behind the scenes, but this one day a year we like to recognize them and appreciate for what they do for the good of the public and for the good of our quality of life. So thanks for recognizing it publicly, and we will share that statewide. I will also mention that the governor proclaimed the day Parks and Recreation Professionals Day throughout the Commonwealth, too. So we are glad to do this and to participate in public announcements because this raises the universal recognition of the value for that parks and recreation play in our modern lives. So thanks.
You're welcome. Definitely an important part of the quality of life in Center County. Do we have any questions from the press on this?
Do you have any estimates, how many people are attending parks? Is it up? Is it? any kind of-
Since the pandemic, it's been up, yes. In fact, during the pandemic, it was the only place people could go. And some parks increased their visitorship over 200% to the point where it was too much. There wasn't enough parking, and then there was other problems. But there are more than 6,500 public parks in the state. So I think the latest number was 65 and 300 local parks, and there are 124 state parks, and there are 12,000 miles of trails in the state. So we are richly blessed with those public assets.
Do you know, are they hiring at most parks? I'm wondering, I've heard some people say that going to parks and services are limited or places were closed because of lack of staff.
Well, funding is always an issue in public parks, and sustainable and what I could call durable funding. You know, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not so good. When the economy tanks or it's needed for the local budgets, Parks and Rec are usually the first to be cut. And then when times become better, they're usually the last to get added back on. And this we know from an actual Penn State study that was done. So we're always looking for more stable funding, which of course translates into having adequate staff to maintain the facilities that we do.
Good question.
Thank you. That's all I have.
All right, thanks. Anything from Tim? No? All right. I did want to, you covered almost your whole first paragraph in the proclamation, but I'll read the second one too. Whereas Parks and Recreation Pennsylvania contributes more than $2 billion annually in economic activity generated by local parks and recreation and supports nearly 15,000 jobs, develops local workforces, boosts home values and property tax bases. So,
All good stuff, yeah.
yeah, I'll hand it over to Commissioner Concepcion for comments or questions.
Yeah, I think I'd just like to emphasize the extent to which parks are just integral to our communities and building community, that by having these places for people to gather, that you're creating community, and the kind of programs that Parks and Recreation authorities provide are places where people come together from all walks of life to do things that are, you know, physically healthy and contribute to our well-being. And also, it's often the first job for so many teenagers. Their first job is often either, you know, working at a day camp or lifeguarding or teaching swim lessons. Those kind of employment opportunities are places where often these parks and recreation professionals have a role in mentoring young people who are just barely starting to enter the workforce. So it's really, there's this full circle of different kind of functions that Parks and Recreation provide that are critical to our economy
Yes,
and communities. So.
and the mixing of cultures happens best in the parks.
Right.
Yeah.
Where neighborhoods come together.
Yes. Yep.
Commissioner Dershowitz?
State parks, local parks, I think it's all pretty demonstrative that you have a very strong role in the professionals that operate those. Now, I will have to say, I do miss some of the playground equipment from my childhood. Maybe it wouldn't pass muster today. The little steel tube spiders and the carousels that went about 50 miles an hour around. So I guess we have made some
of us
changes.
survived, right?
Yeah, well, it's almost like teaching life lessons at that point.
Yes.
Character building.
That's right. But that's how I think everything has changed in the way we do recreation and view it. So we appreciate all the time and effort that you put into recognizing the folks that make it happen, and we really appreciate you coming in today to help us celebrate with you. We just rely on that. We kind of take it for granted, whether it's visitors or residents here in Center County. We have a lot to do, and we just want to celebrate that. And appreciate your time.
Gratitude is ours. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming. Tim, I know you mentioned in your proclamation about boosting home values. I've seen research where location close to parks or bike paths can increase the value of homes by anywhere from 5 to 25%. Because people like those types of amenities, especially
Location,
close to their
location,
residences. Great. Unless there's anything else, I think we could take a motion.
Okay. I will move to adopt Proclamation 37 of 2024 proclaiming July 19th, 2024 as Park and Recreation Professionals Day in Center County.
I will second
We
it.
have a motion and a second. All those in favor of adopting proclamation number 37 proclaiming July 19th as Park and Recreation Professionals Day in Center County, do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Why don't you come on up, Tim, and JJ will get a picture for us.
Just a notch over.
Looking great. Y'all haven't fallen out of practice at all. Thank y'all.
It's been a couple of weeks.
All right,
All
thank you
right.
very much.
Thanks for
Appreciate it.
coming in.
Thank you.
Tim, thank you. What a
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Keep up the good work. You didn't mention dog parks.
Oh, yeah. Do they fall?
And dog parks, there you go. All right,
Yep.
Yes.
thank you.
Or those stainless steel metal slides either.
Oh, yeah,
Do you like
yeah,
There's
there
one
you
of
go.
those still in Bollesburg.
Really?
Yeah,
Ooh,
a big
ooh.
one.
The ones
Okay.
like on those 90-degree days,
Yeah.
sliding down,
Yeah.
sliding down's a little rough.
Gotta wear long pants for that.
Yeah. So moving on to bids and proposals, Jonathan has an update on the Center County Courthouse building envelope upgrades.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm asking you to consider approval with a contract with TMG Builders out of Bellefonte for the amount of $188,857 for the Center County Courthouse building envelope upgrades.
Great. Well, thanks for doing the legwork on that, Jonathan, and finding us a local contractor who was willing to get the work done this summer. Not unlike the correctional facility from last week. Obviously, the courthouse has got a few leaks in it too, and we've got to get those taken care of before anything degrades any further.
Correct, yeah. We've had several leaks around windows and doors that we need to get sealed up sooner than later.
Commissioner Concepcion, comments or questions?
No, I think this is important to maintaining the integrity of the building, so.
Commissioner Dershowitz?
It's all good. It's all good.
All right.
Then I will move to approve the contract with TMG Builders, Inc. for various building envelope upgrades to the Center County Courthouse.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve a contract with TMG Builders, Inc. for the building envelope upgrades to the Center County Courthouse. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Great. Thanks, Jonathan.
Thank you.
Now Carrie's all ready to go with a contract for criminal justice planning.
Yes, good morning. I'm requesting the Board of Commissioners' signature on a one-time contract with the Center County Grange Fair for the purpose of advertising for the annual Hope Initiative Remembrance Ceremony. We ordered flyers. I placed one at your desk to be placed in all of the welcome bags that all the tenters and campers get when they check in. So one side of the flyer is giving details about the ceremony, which is Wednesday, August 28th at Talleyrand Park at 6:30. And the other side outlines some resources that are available in the community for Narcan and the medication collection boxes, and then our Center County Drug and Alcohol Office information. So
Wonderful. Thanks, Carrie. Commissioner Dersham's the Commissioner's representative to the Hope Initiative. Did you want to mention any further detail about the Remembrance Ceremony? They're usually very
Well,
moving.
Yeah, well, it's kind of a mixed event where, you know, we want to raise awareness about the problem, but at the same time, there are families that have been impacted, and it's a respectful ceremony for, I don't even know if ceremony's right. It's more of a process of maybe perhaps grieving and sharing and being around a safe area for people to share their feelings about a situation that has impacted so many. I think the stat in here is, what'd you say, 176 individuals have lost their lives since 2013. That's a lot of families that are grieving and and quite frankly, there's friends and other relatives that have felt the pain of this, and it's our way of reaching out and sharing our thoughts with them and let them know that they don't suffer alone in our community, and everybody's welcome to come and experience the event, so would welcome it. It's on August 28th.
At Talleyrand Park, I think due to the courthouse construction.
Yeah,
Six-
Talleyrand, 6:30.
6:30, probably at the gazebo?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
very good. Any comments or questions, Commissioner
I
Concepcion?
appreciate that there's the back of this has, info for people who to get in touch with if they have a concern and where they can get help. Yes.
Great, and we'd like to thank our Sheriff Brian Samsel for helping with the medication collection boxes throughout the county.
Yes, and several of the local pharmacies also have med collection boxes. So all those addresses and information are on the county's website. So we provided the QR code so folks could find them easily.
Very good. All right, unless there's anything else, I think we could take a motion.
I'll move to add the contract with Center County Grange Encampment and Fair at Grange Park to next week's consent agenda.
I will second that.
We have a motion and a second to add the contract with the Center County Grange Encampment and Fair at Grange Park to next week's consent agenda. All those in favor, do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Great. Thanks, Carrie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And now Julia has a lot of human services contracts for us. What are we up to here? Roman numeral 14 on one of them?
Yeah, so, but first, I want to ask for approval for the fiscal year 2023 grant agreement with the Department of Housing and Urban Development for the Center County Rapid Rehousing Program. The agreement total is $399,407. This is a renewal grant. It's administered by the Offices of Adult Services and in partnership with Housing Transition. It provides medium to long-term rental assistance and case management to individuals and families experiencing homelessness.
Great. I know Faith and her staff worked very hard to get that first one, which I don't know if you've ever had one before. At least
Nope.
it'd been a long time. Never had one before. And now we've got a renewal. That's tremendous. Commissioner Concepcion, any questions?
Yeah, no, this is great.
All right. Commissioner Dershowitz? Good. All right.
I'll move to add the fiscal year 2023 grant agreement with the Department of Housing and Urban Development to next week's consent agenda.
I will second that.
We have a motion and a second to add the fiscal year 23 grant agreement with the Department of Housing and Urban Development to next week's consent agenda. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. And then I believe we have 14 items for children.
Yeah, so I'm gonna condense some of them so we're not here all day,
All right.
okay? So the first ask is consider approval of the Act 148 third quarter fiscal year 23-24 report for the time period of January 1st, 2024 through March 31st, 2024. Spending is on track for the third quarter, nothing outstanding or unusual to report with that. My next ask is to consider the contract approval with Carolyn Larrabee to provide legal services. Contract total is $10,000, with the county share being $2,000. This is to add another attorney to the agency's complement. The third is to consider approval of a contract with Dr. Carolyn Menta Psychological, to provide consultant services for the county's Office of Children and Youth Services. Contract total is $2,500, with the county share being $500. Contracts number 4, 5, 6, and 8 are placement resources. The total of those contracts is $380,000, with the county share being $76,000. Contract number 7, 11, 12, and 13 are daycare providers. The contract total is $37,000, and the county share being $7,400. And contracts 9 and 10 are for forensic interview services. Those contracts total $29,000, with the county share being $5,800. And finally, it's a contract renewal with Mid-Step Centers for Child Development to provide counseling services. The contract total is for $2,500, with the county share being $500.
Great. Thanks, Julia. That was quite a number of contracts and renewals and a lot of paperwork, but obviously need to cover this, and children and youth is roughly tied for our largest department along with the correctional facility.
Fair.
Any questions or comments, Commissioner Concepcion? Commissioner Dershowitz?
I'm good to go.
All right.
I'll move to add the Children and Youth Services items 1 through 14 to next week's consent agenda.
I will second that.
We have a motion and a second to add the 14 items for Children and Youth Services to next week's consent agenda. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Great. Thank you very much, Julia. We have a very short consent agenda. I think we could just take a motion.
I'll move to approve this week's consent agenda.
I will second that, but I do have a question.
Hmm.
Just out of curiosity, the roof that's on there, the facility was built in 2005.
Yeah.
So it makes it 19 years old. Did we have a warranty on that roof, and how long was it?
Fortunately, Jonathan's left the room.
Yes,
But I remember it had expired by at least a 5-year period.
yes, I think it was either a 20 or 25-year period. And the reason why we're accelerating it is because leaks have started to occur. If we do the coverage now, we can avoid having to do a wholesale
Yeah,
replacement.
I was just, and anytime you have a warranty, I mean, you want the warranty to provide some value, and if it's a 25-year, there's 6 years left on that warranty. I just a thought that I had. We do need to replace the roof.
Well, the county has looked at our roofing situation on all of our facilities holistically, and that's why we have started looking at other alternatives as to what
Flat
we've.
roofs are a pain in the
Yeah.
Yeah, they're inherently,
neck anyways, so,
Troublesome.
yeah, troublesome.
Yeah.
yeah.
But we are going in a different direction to try to address that very issue, Commissioner.
That's fine, okay, thank you.
All right. So I believe we had a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving this week's consent agenda do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, nay, motion carries. All right, moving on to letters of support. John has one for St. John's Lutheran.
Before you for consideration is a letter of support for St. John Lutheran, who are applying for a grant through West Penn Power to install a solar panel project on their property. The panels are proposed to be placed at the back of the church's property and help lower their overall energy usage and serve as a renewable energy benefit for years to come.
Great, I think that's also a polling location, too.
Yes.
So we appreciate their help with that. It is. Commissioner Concepcion, comments or questions?
Yeah, it's great to hear West Penn Power has these kinds of grants available, so I'm happy to support it.
Commissioner Dershowitz?
No, I'm all good.
All right.
I'll move to approve the letter of support for St. John's Lutheran Church in Bellefonte.
I will second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve the letter of support for St. John's Lutheran Church in Bellefonte. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, nay, motion carries. Now we'll move on to the check run where we had originally an estimated figure and we now have a final
Yep.
figure.
The check that I'll recognize from this week's check run is to Center Communications. It's a local technology firm where we're purchasing some equipment for upgrading our 911 equipment. And they've been a good partner in that. With that, I will move to approve the check run dated July 12th.
And I will second that with the revised amount being $1,938,605.
Yep.
Yes.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the check run dated July 12th do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, nay, motion carries. John, do we have an administrator's report?
Nothing to report at this time.
All right, we'll move on to reports and announcements. We have, I believe, a voters registration report.
We do. So as of today, Center County has 101,594 total voters on record. Of those, 42,408 are registered Democratic, 149 Green Party, 601 Libertarian, 14,216 with no affiliation, and 41,205 Republican voters. All of the other minor parties comprise 3,015 voters to come to that total of 101,594, and that is up 46 from last week. This week's minor party of the week is the Modern Republican Party with 1 registered voter. Our precinct of the week is Precinct 63, Miles Township West. There are 189 registered voters, and at the last election in April for the primary, they had a turnout of 33.33%. They vote at the Madisonburg Civic Center at 134 Madisonburg Pike, and we'd be grateful to the Madisonburg Civic Center for the use of their facility, for making democracy happen here in Center County, and that was for Precinct 63, Miles West. So,
Great. Thank you, Commissioner Concepcion. I don't believe there's any announcements at this point, right?
not at this time for
All right.
elections, yeah.
Do we have any executive sessions to report or to hold, John?
No executive sessions to report. However, there is a need to hold an executive session to discuss a legal matter as well as one personnel matter.
And that's, what, at 11 this morning?
We can do it
Or
immediately
even
following
shortly
this
after
meeting.
this meeting.
Yeah,
Okay.
if you would like to enter into exec session, we
All
could do
right.
it that way.
That'd probably be good. All right. Write a quick note here. Let's see, the public meeting schedule. This afternoon at 1 o'clock, we have a meeting of the Employee Benefits Trust. Next Tuesday, the 23rd, we have a Board of Commissioners meeting at 10 a.m. and a Board of Elections meeting at 1 p.m. Thursday, the July 25th, we have the Finance Committee meeting at 9 and the combined Board of Commissioners and Salary Board meeting at 10. And we can take any questions from the press at this point.
It has been mentioned several times, the state has flat funded counties for I don't, how many years you mentioned?
14.
Have you been able to review the new state budget? Is there any change in that situation? Do you know?
I believe there's been an increase of 25 million for mental health. Obviously, as a group, counties receive several $billion from the state legislature for mental health. So the counties were asking for a $250 million increase to cover inflation over the last couple of years. I mean, we'd rather have 25 million than nothing, but that's what we received there. I believe most everything else continued to be flat funded. We do appreciate the legislature awarding, I think it was 100 million to school districts for mental health services. Unfortunately, I believe that is a one-time allocation. I don't know if
And
the
it
other.
combines with the physical security funding for schools as well, so that's also, they got to split it between
Yeah.
those needs, so.
And I don't know if the other two commissioners have any other comments on that. So we've seen some very small increases, definitely have more requests in the future. But we are grateful to the legislature for reauthorizing the 911 throughout the Commonwealth and for putting a kind of a mid-range increase on the revenue for that incredibly important county department.
Any idea, ballpark figure, how much percentage the county budget is for mental health programming?
All of human services together is about 40%. Mental health's, what, 5-ish maybe?
Majority of mental health is through block grant.
Yeah.
Through block grant funded, so with a pretty small county match.
Yeah, that number fluctuates a bit, but several percent.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any questions, Tim? All right, unless there's anything else for the good of the order, we'll take a motion to enter into executive session.
I'll move to enter executive session.
Second.
We have a motion, a second, to enter into executive session at 10:33. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We're entering into executive session at 10:33.